Hey there, this is your viticulturist, Fritz Westover at Virtual Viticulture Academy, and also your host on the Vineyard Underground podcast. I am here today to answer a question from the field that came in from Rusty from Texas. This question is about grape growing in his Syrah vineyard. So let's go ahead and get started here, and I'll share with you the information that Rusty gave to me. So Rusty said, we have 2 or 3 of our third leaf Syrah, it's clone FPS 34 on 1103P rootstock, that are exhibiting a red tint on all the leaves on the vine to one degree or another. So there's some pictures I'm going to share about that. Is this some kind of a nutritional deficiency? The vines on either side of them are green and they look fine. Is this something I can spot treat for? If so, what treatment should be done? Okay, so Rusty, I'm going to go to your next photo here. This is just a close-up of a red leaf, but what we're really seeing is 1 or 2 vines that are exhibiting some stress symptoms. The whole vine is showing some reddening, some color change, and it's oftentimes going to be a plant-by-plant issue when you see it happening on just a few vines. So if the entire block, in other words, of your Syrah turned red this time of season after harvest, that's when this question is being submitted, that could be just normal fall foliage or color. We would hope it wouldn't be red blotch virus or a leaf roll associated virus that causes reddening in leaves. And oftentimes when I send in samples on individual vines that are turning red like this later in the season, close to leaf fall, it's usually not virus. I'm not saying it couldn't be. We certainly could test for virus if you wanted to rule that out. But with Syrah or many other grafted vinifera varieties, what we see is sometimes, as well as the nursery tries to do 100% fantastic job grafting all of their vines, occasionally you might get a bad graft on a vine or a weak graft. And if the vine is going into its 3rd year or 4th year, and it's now in full production, that crop load is going to stress the vine more, which means it's going to stress that limited graft union. So if there's any kind of dieback, necrosis, or damage in the graft, or anywhere in the trunk for that matter, that can cause some of these reddening symptoms in the late season, especially if it's just random vines turning red. And that's what we're seeing here. So my suggestion to you would be that don't count these vines out as being dead. They might have been a little overcropped this year for being young vines. They might be stressed for that reason, but I'm going to guess there's probably something going on within the graft or the trunk that's causing the issue. Freeze or cold damage could also cause these issues in trunks, even if the vine is not grafted, or the freeze damage could cause issues in the graft itself. It's usually not very common for just 1 or 2 vines in a vineyard to see freeze damage. Usually you'll see it more widespread. So I kind of want to point you to the direction of a bad graft or trunk issue with these vines. So my suggestion to you is to flag these vines or spray paint the trunks with a specific color paint that indicates that you saw this issue. And next year, keep an eye on the vine. If they have the same issue leading into harvest with this leaf reddening and decline, it's probably a sign that the vines are going to need to be replaced, removed from the vineyard, and replaced. Again, you could test for virus, probably not as likely if it's just 1 or 2 random vines. But if you want to rule that out, you can send some tissue samples in at this time to a lab that will be able to analyze for those viruses. So spray paint them, mark them, keep an eye on them. We're not going to rip them out just yet. We're going to see how they do. But if they continue to show these symptoms, we're probably going to take them out and not count on these vines for the long haul. So I hope that that was an informative lesson for you, Rusty. I hope it gives you some actionable knowledge of what you can do in your vineyard. For those of you listening out there, for you, the listener, if you have any questions, you can just visit Vineyard Underground podcast, click the Ask Fritz button and submit your question, and I can go ahead and answer your question for you that you have in your vineyard. You could also visit virtualviticultureacademy.com for more advice, more videos, and more free information on grape growing. Now get out there and be a better grape grower. Thanks for joining.